morning, everybody. I hope you're doing all well. Do like, share, and subscribe our content. So it also encourages us to create more content around it. And thank you if you've already done so. We'll begin today's session without wasting much time. So first question. You're shown here two metal balls. Suppose they were to be rotated in two directions as shown in the arrow, respectively, what would be the distance between the two balls' head? So you're given here two arrows and they're rotating in the direction of the arrow that is shown here. You're given here two balls and they're rotating in the direction as shown in the arrow. When they rotated, what will be the distance between the bolt heads? These are the bolt heads. Okay. So first option says they move closer to each other. Second says move farther away from each other. C says remain at the same distance from each other. And D says the bolt cannot be rotated. What happens is if you want the bolts to close in to get towards each other, you have to rotate, or move farther away from each other, you have to rotate them into opposite direction. If they are moving in the same direction, the distance between them remains the same. So C is the correct answer because that's what is happening here. They are rotating in the same clockwise direction as we can see here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Three positions X, Y, and Z are marked on the cutting edge of pair of scissors as shown here. Rank the positions in terms of cutting strength from the strongest to the weakest. Okay, X, Y, and Z are marked here. We have to rank them in terms of which is the strongest to the weakest cut. In this case, the strongest cut will happen here, which is the X position, and the weakest cut will happen here, which is the Z position. So the sequence that follows will be X, Y, and Z. So A is the correct option here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. The shape given in the options can be used to cut figure 1 into number of identical pieces. Which shape will cut figure 1 such that all four symbols are included in each of the pieces and no symbols are left over? We do not have any symbol left over, and all four symbols are included in the pieces. So here, if you look at the figure, one is an L shape, a T shape, L shape, and a Z shape or an S shape. So here, this is an L shape. Now this L shape can be how it was seen in A or C. This is the T shape, which was given in option B. Okay. This was A and C both. And this is the Z shape, which was given in option D. So in this case, if you observe, there's only one option where all the figures are included and we do not get any kind of residue getting left out. So B is the one which is the correct option here. We'll move to the next one. Given the given figure 1 is cut into pieces, you have to identify the option whose pieces can be correctly assembled to form the figure 1. Okay, which of the pieces can be correctly assembled to form the figure 1? So when we cut it out, this is how the pieces will assemble. This is figure option A, B, C, and D. If you look at the option D, it is isosceles triangle, two edges are similar, and then they are right angle triangles. In case of option, when we cut H into these options, what we get is these are scalene triangles. These are not isosceles triangles, so B is wrong. With case of C, will be left with this kind of a residue. And with case of option D, it is made up of 12 pieces and not 11 pieces, which were originally given here. So the correct answer is option A here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Below is an animation sequence of Raju playing with his hair. However, except frame 1, all others seems to be mixed up. You have to choose the correct order of the animation. Here, we go back to the options. In the option, yes, first is the same, but after first, the next one is either 1-6 or 1-7. The first is fixed. After that, it can be either 6 or 7. Now, if you look at the hair trajectory seen in 1 and seen in 6, it's very similar. With a slight change in 6 given, versus in the 7th frame, it is very different. You cannot jump drastically from one curve to a different curve. So we have to choose 1-6. B will be wrong and D will also be wrong. Now between A and C, the next number is given as 7 or 5. Now again, we'll look at where the smooth transition happened after the sixth frame. So fifth wala jo hai, it's a smooth transition. After 6, pi can come. But 7 mein again, it's a different curve. So A will be wrong and C is the one which is the correct answer here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. An angry bird is flying in front of a pinhole camera as shown in the picture. If it flies back in the opposite direction, what will be the image cast on the inner wall of the camera? A bird is flying past. An angry bird like this is flying past of a pinhole camera. We have to identify what image gets generated in this frame that is shown here. Okay. When we are looking at something through a pinhole camera, the reflection will be 180-degree rotation of the original figure. So now if the bird is moving in the opposite direction with the beak facing the other way around, which means that uska 180-degree rotation is the one which with the beak facing in the front direction is what will be seen. So B is the one which is the correct figure here. After the bird changes its direction and we look at the pinhole camera. A short interview is being planned for live TV as described below. This is the description of the same. For filming it, 4 cameras, 1, 2, 3, and 4 have been placed in the image below. From the options given, choose the sequence that was most closely followed. The write-up says, the description says, we know the position. Second is whole space. Third is a zoomed in of the interviewer and the interviewee. 1 actually looks at the interviewer, and 4 looks at the interviewee. We start with establishing the interview space, then close up to the interviewer who introduces the interviewee. So first 2 आएगा. Interviewer वाला camera आपका 4 है, so 4, 1. And then after that, what is written is, as the interview continues, we shift between both of them as the questions are answered. After 3 questions. So after this 3 questions are answered, so 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, ऐसे इतने बार आएगा. So 4 times it will repeat. And then close up with, and then we close up with, and then we close up with showing the interview space. We have first both of them in the same space and we close up with the interview space. So after this 3 will come, which is a close up of this space, and then followed by that we zoom out to form the complete interview space. So it will be option D that is there. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. 2 different views of a solid object are shown. If viewed from different direction as the arrow suggests, what would be the view? You're given here a 3D and the arrow is shown here. What is the direction in which, so when we look at this 3D from the arrow direction, what will we look at? So in this case, when I look at from the direction of the arrow, what we find is this and this are, and along with this, they are on the same plane. So they will look like an edge completely. So the overall form won't look like a 3D like we see in B or D or even A, because A में यहाँ पे ये एक line में नहीं है. So correct answer will be C. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Ida is standing on the structure as shown below. She wants to reach points A, B, or C, but she can only travel on a continuous surface. Which of the following statements is true? Okay, this is Ida. She's standing here. She can only travel on continuous surface. Which spots either of A, B, or C can she reach? So in this case, Ida, how can Ida travel? So A says it's possible easily if she takes up this kind of a trajectory. She walks and then easily she reaches point A. Very possible. For case of point C, she can take this trajectory where she goes here. Yahan se she goes at the back. At the back surface, she goes on the dotted trajectory, reaches here, then comes in the front and then takes up this path like we saw with A and then reaches back. So she can reach A as well as C. So the correct answer is option C. Okay, where we are saying that IDA will reach only A and C. Water is kept in 4 identical beakers, but both are made up of 4 different materials: shiny tin, matte black, shiny stainless steel, and blue colored plastic. When kept under the sun with the same amount of water and for the same amount of time, water in which of the beaker will be the hottest? This is obvious. The hottest water will be found in the matte black tin beaker. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Shown below is a one-point perspective drawing where all blocks except one share the same converging point. You have to identify which is that block. This is pretty easy. So C is the only one with all parallel edges. So C is the one which do not follow that converging point. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Below is a set of pictures that shows the variety of domes used in Islamic architecture in India. Select the order in which the design of the domes were developed from 13th to the 18th century. So in this case, the sequence goes by is 3. This is the first dome. Second, third number in sequence. 4 and 5. This is the 4th and this is the 5th in sequence. So C option, which says 3, 2, 1, 4, and 5 is the correct one here. Okay, we'll move to the next one. The figure here shows the front view of a convex lens, which originally had only one edge. 5 holes of different shapes, namely triangle, square, pentagon, hexagon, and circle, were drilled at points P, Q, R, S, and T in such a way that the holes were parallel to each other and perpendicular to the edge. All the holes were still within the lens edge. What is the total number of edges in the lens after the holes were drilled? Pretty simple. So this is an edge. Yahan pe, in the first hole, we are drilling a triangle, then a square, then a pentagon, then a hexagon, then a circle. After this, after we drill the hole, what is the total number of edges that are formed? Now, first we'll calculate the edges formed by the triangle. When you drill a triangular hole, the form of the hole will be that of a triangular prism that is there. A prism, the number of edges in a prism are 9, 3 on top, 3 on bottom, and 3 on the vertical edges. Right. So triangle will have, with 3 surfaces, will have 3 into 3. 3 on top, 3 on the vertical, and 3 here. That's why 3. 9. Square will have 4 edges of shape of the form multiplied by 3. So 12. A pentagon will have 5 into 3, which is 15. A hexagon will have 6 into 3, which is 18. And a circle will have 2 edges. When you add all of them up, it comes to 56 plus 1 edge of the lens is there, which adds up to 57, the total number of edges that will be formed after the drilling is done. Okay, we'll move to the next one. In terms of calories, 20 jamuns and 3 bananas is equivalent to 1 mango and 1 papaya combined, and 2 mangoes and 5 bananas combined are equivalent to 4 papayas and 80 jamuns combined. Then 80 papayas and 2 mangoes are equivalent to how many bananas? The first equation reads as 20 jamuns plus 3 bananas is equal to 1 mango plus 1 papaya. Next reads as 2 mangoes plus 5 bananas is equal to 4 papayas plus 80 jamuns. So here we have 80 jamuns. If I write this same equation in terms of, in the same sequence as we see it in the first equation, we'll find 80 jamuns. Next is bananas. So minus 5 bananas is equal to 2 mangoes minus 4 papaya. Now we don't require jamun, so we'll multiply this whole equation by 4 so we can eliminate the jamun part. So this can be written as 80 jamuns plus 12 bananas is equal to 4 mangoes plus 4 papayas. We can subtract this part completely, and what we will get is, one second. Right. So we just use the elimination method where this will be subtraction, addition. Sorry, this will be subtraction. So this gets eliminated. यहाँ पे 17 bananas will come. This is equal to 2 mangoes plus 8 papaya, which is what we have to find. 2 mangoes plus 8 papaya is equal to how many bananas? The answer is 17 bananas here. Okay. We'll move to the next one now. Two different views of a sphere are shown here. Select the correct digital image that is mapped on the sphere, which is the correct digital image that is mapped on the sphere. In this case, if you look at the top front view and the back view of the sphere, there's a cross that gets formed with a black colored strip here, which means that uska edge will be surrounded, will have a black edge completely. So B will be wrong and D will also be wrong because of the edge difference. So, and between A and C, if you look at the gray strip, it is forming a triangle like we are seeing here, this kind of an edge. So that's why C is the correct one. A will be wrong here. Okay. We'll move to the next one. Which option will replace the question mark that is there? This is in some sequence. You have to identify which replaces the question mark here. So here, if we go from, if I just number this thing, if we go from figure 1 to figure 2, it is getting rotated by 90 degree in clockwise direction. 1 to 3 is getting rotated 180 degree in clockwise direction. 3 to 4 is rotating 270 degree again in clockwise direction. So 4 to 5 will be in what direction? It will be thence for 360 degree in clockwise direction. So it will look exactly, the overall form will look exactly how it is. So B is the correct answer. Because in the option, all the options were in different orientation, we can do that. We don't have to look at the numbers here. All right. We'll move to the next one. In the following, if the following operation were performed in the given sequence on the figure shown in the box, what would be the resultant figure be? What would be the resultant figure if I perform all the operations that are given here on this figure? Okay. So when I perform this particular figure here, when I perform all these options in this particular sequence here, what I will get is this part rotated 90 degree will look something like this, and then the edge here. Again, agar aap usko, when you flip it along the vertical axis here, it will look something like this with the edge here. If you look at again along the horizontal axis, if I flip it along the horizontal axis, this cut will look ulta. It will look like this and this, and then the horizontal surface. So ऐसा एक ही figure है, which is this one with the cut and the horizontal surface. So B is the correct one. D में उल्टी side cut दिया है, that's why it's wrong. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Figure 1 is unfolded into figure 2 and individual letters are written on each face. Which option is the correct representation when it is folded back? This is folded version, and then this is how the letters are wrapped around it. This is the unfolded version. We have to find when we unfold the figure 2 and figure 1, how will the letters appear? Now, if you look at the first cube in all the option, we'll find DEC is there, BEC, DEC, and DEA are together. Let's look at option 1, DEC. If you look at E and C are actually opposite faces of each other, so they can never come together like this. So that's where EC जहाँ पे साथ में है वो possible नहीं है. So A is not possible, B is also not possible, C is also not possible, and D is possible because उसमें E और A है. E and A come together on the edge. A ये का ये वाला edge यहाँ पे आ जाएगा आपका. So A, D, E, A can come together easily with this edge being shared with here, E and A, and A, C, B will come here together in this part. So option D is the one which is the correct answer here. Okay. With this, I will end today's session here. I thank you so much for your time given. Thank you.